Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy every Saturday at 10 o'clock my time, 8 UK, and 1 o'clock your time, Kyle?
3.
3 o'clock. So it's 1 o'clock Pacific.
Mm-hmm. No,
All right.
it's noon Pacific.
It's noon in Pacific? All right.
Yep.
I'm lost. Anyways, so welcome to the Reel McCoy, where we gather around every Saturday for a sort of a book club typish thing. We've got a homework for you to do every single week, and this week the homework were go watch Groundhog Day if you haven't watched, and if you did, go watch it again because you might have lost something and watched it like a million years ago and whatever. And we get to dissect the movie for you and bring in our take, my take, and Kyle's take. Mephisto and Oh My Feelings. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. How are you, my friend?
I am good. I'm good. I've had a very successful week personally, doing some stuff I'm not going to mention, but when it comes to like movies and stuff, I've watched quite a few movies again, and we're gonna review them like in 2 months' time, maybe. But a few good ones. Yeah, kind of a reminder. But I'm gonna watch them again just to make sure I've got the shorts down, because a lot of these movies I thought they were that it's gonna be easy to make like a short version of them. Some of them is like you really got to pick your moments. Really got to pick. You're gonna see at the end. But this time we've got a short for the end of the podcast, which I'm happy about. And we're going to go through this. All right. How about you?
Nope.
Week was good.
Same old. Yeah.
All right. Because I haven't even heard of that like all week, but that's on the normal side with
yes,
us.
I'm just really happy that we get to review this because this is one of my favorite romance comedies, I guess, of all time. I love this movie to death.
Yeah, it was a fun watch. I watched it 3 times. I managed to watch this 3 times. All right. So, Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. Kind of a sneaky one. This was after the one that he did like the Scrooge kind of movie, or is it
this is
before?
After Scrooged.
This is after the Scrooge movie. Wasn't really well received at the time, and Bill Murray was like after Ghostbusters 2 came out, which again wasn't really well received. It's like now, but it wasn't really well received. Kind of got on his own and got more roles than the other guys in the Ghostbusters because he was again very associated with that one, and kind of went off. And this one was a sneaky one. This wasn't like a high budget movie, no special effects. I think the most special effects we had was when he drove off a cliff, I think, and we had one explosion.
Yes.
Maybe that was the biggest. I think they spend more money on making those ice sculptures than that explosion.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, yeah. So a sneaky one. What is it all about? Well, technically it is about Groundhog's Day. Whoever lives outside of the American borders, we have a groundhog. We'll not mention his name right now, but we have a groundhog that is it February 22nd?
February 2nd.
February 2nd. Every year they release him from his cage, and if he comes out and sees his shadow and comes back in, we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. And if he just stays out, then it signifies that winter is coming to an end and we're going to have an early spring. That is the mythical belief. And this is what the whole movie is resting upon, is that a singular event. So we have Bill Murray. Bill Murray's character is a weatherman, of course, and he's being sent to Punxsutawney. It's so fucking
very close.
Hard.
Very close.
It's so hard. In Pennsylvania, it's a very famous town where they held hold this event, and he needs to cover it because he's a weatherman and he's out in the field. And yeah, and hilarity ensues from there. Oh shit! Sorry. There we go. This is the start of the movie. We kind of get to this part. I like this part because he's kind of being super sarcastic with the co-host. It's like, it's not my third time there, it's my fourth time there. Yeah. And he's being snarky and like immediately, you like instantly know, first of all, that's Bill Murray, Bill Murray, and he's being a jerk, an asshole, and an elitist.
And I'm glad that you mentioned Scrooge earlier. Because that really this role reminds me of Scrooge more than any of his other movies.
Really?
Yeah.
This is like Scrooge at the beginning of Scrooge, just without the money.
Yeah. Before he became that popular network head.
Exactly. There's a scene here with the no, that's a bit far. With this guy, the guy from the guy from Sex and the City. He's being gay here too as well, which is odd, I don't remember the actor's name, but he's been in a bunch of stuff, and every time it's like a side character that like progresses the story. So he's like a producer here, or a producer from the network, and they go like back and forth, and that guy kind of tells him, look, you're gonna take Rita, she's a new producer, and she's gonna help you out. That's about it.
Sad to say we have a massive echo.
Sounds like Kyle has a massive echo. Maybe it's this. Now talk about now.
See if that works. Yep, I think that got it.
You got no echo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm sharing the screen, so you're getting double. Oh, no worries. Oh, good. You're good. I've muted my screen, so it should be good. But let's keep going, right? So there's a point here. Yeah, I like this part where she's in front of the blue screen and she's like doing this because she's wearing a blue jacket. And she's like, this is my producer. This is my producer. And he turns to him and is like, I've got like offers from the network, which I don't know, from the demeanor he says it. Maybe I've seen this movie way too many times, but from the demeanor he says it, I was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. No. There's no way. It's like, it's a small time weatherman in a small time, like whatever, in PA, who thinks he's bigger than he is. And nah, I don't think so.
He's totally not in a big market, but he's in the second largest city in Pennsylvania. So it's not a small market by any stretch of the imagination. It's not like your local news or anything, but still he's not, covering Chicago or LA or New York news. At this point.
It's not only that, it's not like nationwide channel. It's like a local, either local to Pennsylvania, or local to whatever. Yeah. It's not like the big networks, whatever.
And I do like what he said is, she's your girl. You're gonna love working with her. She's fun. Yeah. And Bill Murray
and you see her go like this.
And Bill Murray's character immediately goes, yeah, but she's not my kind of fun.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Everybody knows what you mean. So they drive down and they have sort of a conversation.
Yeah.
And he keeps being super snarky to her. And she's like, ugh, this guy, that's so stupid. And it's not only the interaction between him and her, it's also she's like sitting back and sort of observing the interaction between him and the cameraman, Larry.
Yep. Chris Elliott. Yep.
And she's like, you can tell by the expression, even though she's out of focus, you can tell that she is like, no.
And it's a subtle thing that is intrinsic throughout the film. It is her interpretation of him and how he acts around other people and how he treats other people. And
Yeah.
her reaction to this is really telling later.
Yeah, exactly.
He does say one line to her that I found funny, which for anyone who has been to PreachCon or been to England and had blood sausage, the joke about blood sausage in this was like, yeah, and stupid people like stupid things like blood sausage. Are you a stupid person? Do you like blood sausage?
Well, the answer to that is no, and yes. So this is just the start of the movie. This is like it. You keep getting credits. I like this part because what I like about this movie is, it's like an hour and a half. We're gonna jump in straight into the action, and it's throughout this movie. There's because everything gets repetitive, right? Everything gets repetitive. So every day, when we get to it, every day passes. When you try and change a little thing each day, you get just that little sliver of a segment each and every time. But we're going to get to it. But it's throughout this movie. It wants to tell a story, and it tells you just the things you need to know. Just the things you need to know. And everything else, you have to like think about what are you doing throughout like a 24-hour section of a day. All right.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the town, and they have to sleep, and this is where this is the one I want to get to. So in this part of the movie, it's like the first act. This is where we have the baseline day. This is where you set up the baseline chain of events that happened to Phil. Phil is the character of Bill Murray. This is the baseline day, and from there you build it. Again, they build it in your mind, and they show you just slivers of the day. But this is like the baseline day. This is what like carries the movie for me.
Yep. And I always hated I've Got You, Babe. I've never liked that song.
Really?
And this movie always made me hate that song.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Even as a kid, I hated that song as a kid.
Well, to be fair, technically, the first time I've heard the song was the remake for the Beavis and Butthead movie.
Oh,
they did it with Cher, and everybody forgot about that song. Everybody forgot about.
I think.
Song. By the way, I had the CD of the music from the movie. It's awesome.
Oh man. The only one I can remember is Roller Coaster that Red Hot Chili Peppers did. That's the only one I can remember. Roller Coaster of Love. That's the only song I can remember from that.
Yes, I know. But this one is like it was like number one on the charts for weeks.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the baseline day, clock turns up. We have Sonny and Cher singing "I Got You, Babe." And we got the local radio guys kind of talking about the day, blah, blah, blah. We'll just going to keep going because it's long. It's a lot of little details. So Bill Murray gets up, washes his face, goes out to the outside of his room, fully dressed, and he meets this guy. Hold. I know it's a little bit difficult because everything is very, very like in short order. He looks out the window. Very important, just to set the baseline of the day. He watches everybody goes to the thing. He goes out. He meets this guy. Come on, man. Come on. He meets this guy. They have some sort of an exchange. It's not like it's sort of a small talk. So I'm not going to hang everything on this. Then he goes downstairs.
But he still has a condescending attitude toward him. That's the more important thing.
He keeps... Phil is within his character. He's an obnoxious, he's a snob, and he's sarcastic as fuck.
Yeah.
And that's who he is. So he goes downstairs. He goes to the mess hall, I would say. And this lovely lady is playing such a great host, and he asked for like an espresso or some espresso, and he's like, "What is that? We have coffee." He was like, yeah, it's sort of a he's acting like a fish out of water, but not really. It's sort of a reverse role, fish out of water. It happens in so many like American TV and movies where the like big town guy goes into a little small town and everybody's looking at him kind of weird because he's asking for things that you can only get at a big city.
I think
It happens in
trope,
so many other examples.
I think the trope is referred to as big fish in a small pond. That's what
Big
the
fish,
trope is considered.
Okay.
But,
so big fish in small pond. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Fish out of water is something else. Never mind. All right. So we have her as a scene. Then he's of course frustrated, and she asks him about his if he's staying for the night, and he's talking to her in the weather talk. Chance of this is a 100% like leaving. I'm 100% leaving. Or there's a chance of 100% that I'm not gonna stay, or something like that. Then he goes out, and we've got this scene where it starts off with the old man, the bum,
The homeless man,
who asks for change. Then he's recoiling from him, and he does that numerous times. But this is like the baseline thing. Then we have Ned Rierson.
Yep.
Right, we've got Ned Rierson coming in, and he's like, Phil either doesn't know him, doesn't want to know him because he's a snob, and doesn't want to deal with him. And this guy is being a typical insurance salesman. Like,
well, the thing is, they actually did know each other. That's actually from the original like story that this is based off of. They actually did know each other, and the fact that Ned, the story that he's telling him about, like, oh yeah, we went to high school together. I dated your sister for a short period of time until you told me not to. Yeah. That's completely true. That happened. So they know each other. You know, Phil's just an asshole.
He acts like he doesn't know him.
Yeah.
And then we have the baseline. I like that line. I've totally forgot where it was from, but it's from here. Am I right or am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Right. And it was so iconic, and I totally forgot it's from this moment in this movie, and it happens just once, just this once. It's completely random, and I've seen it in many other places, like as a reference. Totally forgot it's from here, and of course, Phil kind of tries to get away from him, and we have, it's so hard to pinpoint the exact moment, but you know what I'm talking about. Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. When he steps in a pothole, and actually, it's funny, is actually in the town of Puxatawny, where it was recorded. They filmed it there. They actually have a plaque of where the pothole was.
Okay, and it says
they put one there.
The first step.
No, it's actually like this is in commemoration of the Groundhog Day movie, and this is where he fell in, and it said, "It's a doozy."
Nice. It's very hard to pinpoint the exact moment, but I'll try. There it is.
Yep.
It's sort of right after it. It's just iconic, and it's very, for people who deal with snow all the time, it's sort of a real joke. So
yeah,
we get to the point.
By the way, just let you know,
it's
not
terrible.
Fun, buddy.
It's terrible. It is terrible. I've been in. We've got one place here that has actual snow every year. I don't get to go every year, but the last time I put my foot in a snow, it wasn't nice. It wasn't. So we get to this point. And Phil does his spiel. We have the townsfolk. We have a guy with a big scroll that says blah, 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 blah. And we've got 6 more weeks of winter, which is sort of ominous, right? By the way, that's his brother. But he has 3 names. It's Clancy, whatever. Not Clancy, but something Murray. And I kind of knew it at the time, but not really. They're in a bunch of movies together, by the way. They're in a
Oh yeah,
bunch of movies together.
yeah.
And every
And
time there's very little interaction between those two.
he has bit parts in so many comedies.
Yeah, I know.
So many comedies.
It's like sort of a comedy movie character actor, you would say, because
Yeah,
there are plenty of people who do like character acting, either side characters or more like pronounced characters, but they're like the villain in this, and this.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say in a lot of ways he's like the comedic version of Joey Pants.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but also that what you mentioned before, Meffy, just real quick, how you didn't want to mention the groundhog's name because it gave it away.
Exactly.
It's Punxsutawney Phil, and his name is Phil.
Exactly. So they've purposefully matched this to be good, because the townsfolk, when they say Phil, they mean the groundhog. But when Rita or Larry say Phil, they mean Bill Murray's character. So he's being snarky again. Obviously, he's describing everything. They cut to the townsfolk announcing the 6 more weeks of winter. Then he comes back. Oh, we've blah, 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 blah. And he's being sarcastic again. And Rita's not having it. Then, I think Rita or Larry say they're going to dinner, and like Phil says, no fucking way. We're not going to dinner. We're leaving. We're absolutely leaving. So they're trying to head off to town, and there's a blizzard literally at the end, up to the end of the town. That is it. So the town doesn't get hit by the actual blizzard. It gets snowy a little bit, but it doesn't get hit by the blizzard. It's like outside of the town, sort of an ominous. I'm putting the town in some sort of an
under
enclosure,
a dome.
A dome, a sort of a dome, and everything happens in the town. So you're literally are meant to stay in the town. That's the day. So they go back to dinner, and like Phil doesn't want to mingle with anybody, not with Larry, not with Rita, not with anybody. Yeah. Right. Oh, snow globe, said Saf. Yeah. Sort of a snow globe, but the snow is from the outside of the globe. The outside of the globe. So,
first,
yeah, I know.
he takes a shower.
Yeah,
screaming at the top of his lungs. He pops out, and there's the matron who owns the inn. It's like, so no hot water, huh? She goes, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course not. It's like, we're in like minus 40 degrees. What the fuck? Like, go to sleep. Why are you showering anyway? But it was funny seeing, like, what did you expect? You stand there, you open the water. If there were even any hot water, do you expect it to come out as soon as you open the tap? So, yeah. It was just a dumb scene, I guess. It was just a dumb scene.
It's just more to set his character up, too, where he's just ungrateful for everything and annoyed by every tiny little obstacle and nuisance in his life.
Okay. So we have day 2, basically. And it's the only day 2 you can say it's day 2, and not like day 17th, where you don't know if it's day 17th or day 300.
Yeah. And we're going to get about the time differential stuff way later at the end.
Don't worry, because there's a few points where you can say, well, this could have been like years, but never mind. All right, so he goes to bed, wakes up, and we have Sonny and Cher again, and he wakes up. It's kind of weird, you know. Again, he goes to wash his face, and there's still like he gets up to wash his face, and he looks back because he hears basically the same thing, and he's thinking it's a recording. What's going on?
It's that radio talk, because it's the same
the radio talk
they had the morning before, because the song is not that I'm like, well, they could have just played the same song over again. That's not that big of a surprise. But then to have the same exact dialogue, that's where it's like, huh.
And then he like, huh? Yeah. So that's where he like looks back and like ear pops open and okay, so he washes his face again and goes outside again. And this time, he looks out the window and it looks exactly the same.
Yep.
Exactly the same people, the same mannerism, the same. And he's expecting blizzard, right? Because he got stuck in a blizzard. Now there's a little bit of snow, but it was there on the first day. It was there on the first day. So he's puzzled. Puzzled, I would say. Again, going out, meeting the same guy again, and again with the sort of a puzzled expression, I would say, right?
Because this is the first time he realizes that when he tells him, "Oh, so you're going downtown for the festival, right?
For the festival,
to the Groundhog Day," and it's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, but he's like, he's sort of in shock, so he doesn't really know what to answer.
Yeah.
Goes downstairs,
and when she asks him, it's like, "So what are you gonna do for Groundhog's Day?" And he asks her, like, "Have you ever heard of deja vu?" She says, "Oh, we don't know how to make that.
We don't know how to make that,
but we have coffee."
It's like, okay. Okay. And then he goes out the door and she asks him, "Are you going to stay for another night?" And he says
75 to 80% chance.
Yeah, there's 75 to 80% chance of departure. Because he's unsure on what's going on. So he gives it a little bit less percent. Then of course we've got the bum, which again he's not really ignoring, but he's like, I'm not gonna give you any money. And then we got Ned Ryerson again, and again we have the first step, and it's a doozy because he just didn't figure it out yet.
Was this the conversation they had with Ned where he started already repeating back to him? It's like, "Oh, you're an insurance salesman. Bingo, you got it again.
Yes,
you are sharp today."
Yeah. He is like, he's telling him some stuff that he told him before, and then he kind of either repeats it or just completes the sentence. It's like, oh shit, you're 10 out of 10 today. Mm-hmm. So I got this and the first step, and he goes to the thing, and he's like, "Rita, what's going on? I think I had a bad dream. I think I've dreamt this. I think I've had deja vu," or whatever he tells her. He's like, what? He's confused at this point. He's completely confused. And I was like, "Phil, shut up. Just do your report." And she's like completely ignoring what he says to her. I was like, I know the whole premise is he's been there already a few times. I think it's this is fourth, right? He had a conversation with the anchor lady, and she says, "It's their third, right?" And he says, "No, it's my fourth time." When he says again, Rita thinks, well, he's been here. He's
already been here before. He's just complaining again.
What are you talking about? Yeah. So she completely ignores what he says, and he goes like, "It's Groundhog's Day again."
Again?
Yeah. Again. And he was like, "Okay, we need to go for a coffee or something." Like he tells her, "Let's go to the diner." So they go and sit. Where is it? No, is it this time that he goes to the diner? No,
this is the time where he's still trying to figure everything out.
It's the second day, right? It's the second day, so he's trying to figure out everything, and he's trying to get a line. This like 4, you can see there, it's 4 a.m. So he stayed up all day trying to figure out what's going on. And he's trying to get an outside line because everything is snowed in. And he says, "Don't you have like a celebrity line or something?" And the
Don't you have a VIP line?
yeah, the VIP line is like,
Come
and the
on,
operator is
man.
like, "What are you talking about?" You don't hear the operator. You can hear just his side, but you
Yeah.
can literally imagine what is going on the other end. It's like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about, sir? There is no VIP. We have no lines. It's a blizzard, dude. It's a blizzard. And he tries to stay up, but he falls asleep. And of
Oh,
course,
that's the first thing that he does before he goes to sleep, though,
Mhm.
is he already knows something is amiss, so he breaks the pencil and he
Oh
puts
yeah,
one piece
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
top of the alarm clock and one piece on the nightstand, and
Yes.
just to see what happens in the morning.
Yeah. And he like 6 o'clock, I got you, babe. And he gets up and he literally
Finds the
looks
unbroken
down.
pencil.
He finds the pencil and is like, oh, something is afoot.
Yep.
And at this point, the timeline starts to be a little bit faster and a little bit faster. You see less and less scenes each and every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he immediately goes down. He goes to like Ned, but he completely ignores him. He and
Yep.
like Ned is being super pushy, but he completely ignores him, right? And he still, I think he still gets the doozy. No, I think this time he
He still walks into it because he hasn't done that yet. That's actually the next day.
I think
Which
yeah, this at this point everything is kind of jumbled up for me.
yeah.
I could follow it, but remembering back, I knew that going backwards it's going to be hard. Even when I did the short, it was very tough to get what I wanted. You'll see.
This is basically like the almost the climax of the first arc, where now he's having the conversation.
Yeah, so he gets. I'll get to it. So he gets to it gets to the point where he reaches the ceremony, and at the end of the ceremony, he's like, "Rita, we have to go to the diner. I have to talk to you." And he tries to tell her, "Look, I get up every day, and it's the same day again and again and again, right?" But at this point, he doesn't have enough information like he does a few scenes from now, so deeper into the movie. So look, I get up every day, there's the same music, it's the same thing, and at the end of the day we have a blizzard that will like close us off. And she tells him, "What blizzard? You said we wouldn't have any blizzard. You're the weatherman, and you said we won't have any blizzard." It's like, I don't know shit. I'm just reading stuff. I don't know how to do the weather.
Yeah.
He basically says, "I don't know."
Care about like I am a giant fraud. I'm just letting you know
I'm a
that
giant fraud. Yeah. So it's like that. And there is a scene where somebody drops something in the kitchen, or nearly drops something in the kitchen, and that's sort of a trigger that happens throughout in almost every diner scene as well, right?
And this was his first interaction that they show with Doris, the waitress.
Yes.
There too.
Yes.
Who's kind of an ancillary character that doesn't seem to be very important, but she kind of plays into the whole grand scheme of it repeating over and over and over again. And a lot of his antics later revolve around her.
I'm trying to see if the psychiatrist comes first or the
doctor does first.
The doctor
guess who
comes
that
first.
Is?
Yes, that's Spanky Spangler. Oh, and dude, he has gone fat as a motherfucker. The stuff that killed him at the end.
Yeah.
The stuff that killed him at the end. God damn it. Anyway, so it's a Bill Murray movie, so you got to have Spanky Spangler in there. And he's like the doctor, and he's not wearing the glasses.
So I love the fact that he rubbed his eyes too and tried to look at his chart and be like, "You've got to go back to Pittsburgh."
Like, he goes out to he's like this. Yeah, no tumors, no this, no that. And he's looking all the way into the chart, and I was like, yeah, I think you should go to like a psychiatrist, because you're not gonna get anything here.
Yeah.
And he goes out to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is like, Uh,
I mostly deal with kids and
yeah,
divorced couples. I just recently got an alcoholic. like he's
yeah,
proud of that.
yeah. He's like he's like ill prepared to be a psychologist. And
Oh, and, what
the
is
thing he says to him, I want to see you tomorrow. It's like Bill's like, no, you don't understand.
Oh no, I know. Phil told him, he goes, you got your degree from an actual college, right? Not like a veterinarian college.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god. And this guy's like, who played in the piano? Adam Brody.
yes, he looks very similar to Adam Brody.
Very similar to Adam Brody. I was like, oh, hello. Okay, that's not Adam Brody, by the way.
Brody, no.
Yeah.
But there is actually a very famous actor later who had a bit part in this movie, and I will call it out later when he shows up.
Okay. So to round up Act 1 for me, he goes out to the sort of a bar / bowling alley, and he meets these two drunks, and they all kind of get drunk. They go into the car together, and this is Bill Murray's ego realizing that he has no consequences.
Yes,
because he goes into this car. Oh, go ahead.
And the thing is, one of the drunks says one of the most poignant lines, and it's so sad if you take it in context. Because Phil says, "Well, what would you do how would you feel if you were stuck doing the same thing every single day? You couldn't get out of it. Every day was exactly the same. It was like a permanent prison." One of the guy literally says, "Yep, that's about sums it up for me."
Yeah, I'm gonna show this. It's this point. The guy on the not like left, right? He's like, yeah, sounds about right. Like it's my everyday too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also,
so
the guy in the middle, when they drag him out to his car, they're like, "Are you gonna vomit outside or inside the car?"
Yeah. It's like
I'm thinking both.
So he drives around. They see, there's a great moment here where it's kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen later, but they're sort of getting away from the cops, and Bill Murray's like Phil goes into the tracks, and he like goes. You think he's going chicken against the train, but he literally skids away at the last possible moment.
Yeah.
And
Phil says, "I think he's gonna swerve first."
Yeah. So yeah, that point, and they get out and kind of crash into some sort of a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, some sort of a like a parking lot.
Yeah.
There we go. There. And he goes out to the officer, and I don't remember what he tells him. He tells him like this snarky remark. It's like, excuse me, officer.
No, he was like, "We want 2 fries or something else." And the guy in the middle who mentioned flapjacks, like, "And can we get some flapjacks?" And Phil goes, "So is it too early to order flapjacks?"
Yeah. And I was like, that kind of sums up Bill Murray for me. That kind of humor, because it's out of place, but you can. He gives you like a very strong visual of what the thing is, but it's so out of place. It's so good. All right, so at this point, we're gonna do a little mini stop.
All right,
and we're gonna go for the poster quiz of the week. Every single week, I put up 20 pictures of movies that have their text remove. Or it's either a sort of a promotional poster movie that had no text in the beginning. And our friend here, Kyle, and the audience can guess which movie is it actually from. So without further ado, not this one, and we're going to go full screen. And whammo. No, sorry, whammo.
Casino.
Underrated movie. It is. Underrated movie. Yes, it is. Because it came out right after Goodfellas.
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. Good one, man. That's actually very hard, by the way. This one's tough.
Oh, It's not that Schwarzenegger Antichrist movie, is it?
It is.
It is. Damn it! I can never remember the name of that goddamn movie either.
It's called End of Days.
End of Days. Yeah.
Because he doesn't look like Schwarzenegger in this one.
No.
The poster itself.
Nope. Fargo.
Fargo, the movie, not the not the TV series. This for you.
Is that supposed to be Ghost in the Shell?
That is Ghost in a Shell. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not the better one. I can't show it. It's very suggestive.
Yeah. No, you can't.
The better one is very suggestive.
Nope.
Underrated movie too. I like this movie, even though I watched it with my wife about 10 times together.
It's not Runaway Bride.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's not My Best Friend's Wedding.
No, it is not.
Nope. I am not that well versed beyond that in Julia Roberts movies.
It's called Notting Hill. It is the only movie I can suffer through Hugh Grant, by the way.
Okay.
Only one.
Is that Pan's Labyrinth?
Pan's Labyrinth it is. You are on fire, sir.
Scarface.
Scarface.
Spawn.
Spawn. Underrated movie and a terrible.
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver.
Great movie too. Is that The Witch?
No.
What? Oh, Guns. Duh. That's Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. This is easy.
Yeah, Top Gun.
Top Gun.
God, and I love this movie, and I just forgot the name of it. Trainspotting.
Trainspotting.
American Beauty.
American Beauty.
The Day the Earth Stood Still.
No.
Wow.
Saf got one.
What the hell? It's not Contact.
No, not Contact.
What? Is that Battle of Los Angeles?
No, that is not.
Nope. Got me on that one.
Chat. We got something from the chat. Saf. No. All right. This is Arrival. Arrival.
Wow. I don't know. What could this movie possibly be? Beverly Hills.
What
Cop.
is it? Nope.
2.
It's Beverly Hills Cop 2. The first one is different. The first one has no Beverly Hills sign.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport and not Kickboxer. I thought this was Kickboxer, by the way.
Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, it came up.
We had just talked about that before.
I didn't think it would come up at all. Like whatever. Yeah, good one. Good one. Not a lot of doozies in there.
There are a couple stumpers in there.
Yeah, but
I don't think a lot of people have gotten Breakfast at Tiffany's, to be honest. Not anymore.
Yeah, but it's whatever. Okay, so
yeah, Arrival, which I had never even heard of that movie.
It's with what's her face? It's with Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner and
What's her face? I love that actress, but she's been in a few movies that I loved and a few movies that I fucking hated. Not Emma
that does
Stone.
not narrow it down.
She has red hair. Come
Jessica
on,
Chastain?
man. No. She was in American Hustler. Not Jennifer Lawrence, the other one. I forgot her name.
Oh, American Hustle. It was
American Hustler, I think. American Hustler.
That was what's her name? She is actually the daughter of Ron Howard.
No, not Bryce, whatever.
Bryce Dallas Howard? No, not her.
No, it's not her. Never mind. I'll remember. She was in The Fighter with
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
That's it.
Amy
Saf,
Adams.
you are right. Redheads are always good.
Yeah, right. So we come to this point where kind of
we're now he literally has the line where he says, I don't have to play by their rules anymore, because he understands that this is going to keep happening. So what the hell? I'm just going to go crazy.
I'm just going to go crazy. So he has this is basically where like everything gets shifted from different times in the day. So this is basically after the ceremony, they're going back to the diner. Mm-hmm. He has a huge table with like donuts and cupcakes and eclairs and whatnot, like whatever. And all he does, he's literally shoving food down his mouth and drinking the coffee right from the mug and like smoking a cigarette, like shoves a fucking cake into his mouth and was like, what? What do you want? And Rita's disgusted. She is absolutely disgusted by his behavior. Anything to add?
Well, I think at this point where she thinks it's all about his ego, and his defense is, well, you don't understand that I'm going through the same shit every day, so it doesn't, what I do is inconsequential. But that in itself is being absolutely egocentric. And that's going to be something about we're going to talk about philosophy and ideologies later, but that's part of it.
Yeah, we're going to get to it. So yeah, this is the point where literally his ego is going crazy. This is the part of the movie where his ego is absolutely going insane. So he goes up to this woman. This woman is Nancy Taylor. He asks her questions, but because it's like a nice small town, she literally answers every question that he asks, even like very, very intrusive one, like, who is your like second grade English teacher, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's like going into like a minute detail because we as the audience know what he's going for. Even like as soon as he sits down, we know what is going on. But she really doesn't. So he asks her a few questions. He gets what he wants and he leaves. And she's going, what? Wait, what?
Why would you even be asking me that question to begin with?
Exactly. So we literally have a day passing and we go back to the ceremony part where he goes out, he looks for her in the crowd and he goes, Nancy Taylor, and he spews out everything he knows about her that he asked her before. And she's so amazed, she doesn't even know him. But he gives her so much information. It's like, oh, he must have been with me in my class, blah, blah, blah.
Well, he said that, well, I asked you to prom, you turned me down. I was a lot shorter then. I grew up in my older age. And I'm a successful weatherman in Pittsburgh and all this stuff. Yeah. And telling her all this personal information about her. So she kind of starts being interested in him, and then they start getting intimate.
Exactly.
And this scene
Go ahead.
is just the most like, like you thought he was a scumbag. Like this was just a really shitty thing to do. Granted, it doesn't really matter because in the grand scheme of things, it never actually happened because time keeps resetting itself. But
Yes.
still, just the thought that he did have this happen. She asked him, "Well, is this going to be just a one night stand, or do you see something?" He goes, "No, I'm in love with you. I've always been
Yes.
in love with you. I want to ask you, will you be my wife?"
And
And
that's kind
then
of strange because they just
just
met. Even
met
if they just
again.
met again,
Yeah, it would
in
still be
her
way out
in
of
her
context.
head,
Yeah.
it's still kind of like what? But the thing is this: they make out, and he's like, "Oh, Rita," and she's like, "Wait, who's Rita?"
He goes,
No, I said
whatever.
Nancy. It's like, don't worry about it. I said
He doesn't
Nancy,
even say
and
that. He goes, "Oh, whatever."
the,
That's how much he does not give a shit
yeah,
anymore.
he did not give a single fuck at this moment. So this is a moment where I like it, where he literally
Doris again.
sits. Yeah, he sits back, and at this point, he actually has timed what happens,
Yep.
which means this is not day 5. This could be like day 10. It could be day 20. It could be whatever. He literally times this. So we actually, at this point, we actually don't know how many versions or how many days this has gone by. But
Yep.
he times this, and everybody, it's 2 guards with an armored truck, and they drop coins, and he comes in and he like literally steals 2 bags of money.
Grabs the money.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is as he's crossing the street, he goes 1, 2, car, passes right in front of him, as if he's been either hit by that car before, or he knows exactly when that car is coming. And he knew when Doris was going to ask for that roll of quarters, he knew everything.
Exactly. So like I said, it's not, you can't really say it's like, oh, we've got the scene here. Okay, we're day 6. I think it's
no
way farther away, but we actually don't get an answer. There is no day count when it comes to this movie, because it leaves you in the dark on how many times he's been there. And we're going to see other things that just don't make sense if it's not like years.
Oh, and by the way, that right there is one of my favorite little jokes that happens, is when he pulls up in that new Mercedes that he bought with all the money he stole with, I don't know who this woman is, by the way. They never actually reveal who that woman is.
They never say. It's sort of a scene that was there and not there anymore, because they're in a party, a costume party. Like, it's out of nowhere.
Like, oh, we're going to a costume.
This whole scene is out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's
but
when go ahead.
When Nancy walks by, he goes, "Hi, Nancy." She looks back at him, obviously doesn't know who he is because none of the conversations have ever happened. And she asks Phil, he's like, "Who is that?" He goes, my ex-fiance. She doesn't remember me anymore. It's like, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But this whole scene has like, it's sort of an out of place, but it just shows you the car that he bought from the stolen money and the Nancy bit. And that's about it.
Is that it? Yeah.
This whole scene is just for these 2 bits, but okay.
I think it's supposed to be kind of just showing how far he had gone down that rabbit hole of just self-indulgence at that point, where he didn't care anymore.
Yeah, sort of an ego trip, I would say, maybe. And then we come to this scene where it's after the ceremony, they sit down again, and this is where he literally tries to put the moves on Rita, where he's trying to get more information out of her because he knows he can use it at later dates. So he asks her, what is she looking in a man? And she's like, he needs to be humble. Me. He loves kids. Me. He wants to have a family. Me. It's like, he's trying to like, yeah, you're looking for me, but we all know it's like it's still on it. It's still him. He's
Yeah.
definitely not humble, but it sort of sets the characteristics of where she wants him to be and where he will eventually go to by virtue of breaking down his ego throughout the course of the numerous days that he's been through.
Definitely. And that what's really important is really like the good synopsis of the next, what, about 30 minutes, 20, 30
Yes.
minutes of the film is basically him repeating that same day with her over and over and over again, finding these new facts, using those facts to try to manipulate her like he did with Nancy before.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work on her. And he can't
Yes.
figure that out. But he's finding out that he is actually falling in love with her the more information he's finding out about her, about how caring she is, about how warm and inviting and how loving of a person that she really is. And he's not really used to that at all, given like just speculation, there had to be some kind of past drama that would make someone this much of a self-centered asshole.
Yeah, I would say so.
But he's finding that she is the exact opposite of him, and he loves that about her, and he's slowly turning that tide as a character throughout his whole interactions with her.
And the first example is this. First, like, we see this going over and over again. So he goes in, he's like, oh, I want like a scotch on the rocks, something like that.
Jim Beam and water.
Jim Beam and water. That was it. So, and she says, sweet vermouth on rocks with a twist. By the way, that is disgusting.
It is not good.
Disgusting drink.
No. I was a bartender before. It's gross.
I was a bartender too. It
is not good.
It's gross. You know what you use vermouth for? To make martinis. That's it.
Or Manhattans. Like you use it for cocktails.
Yeah. The sweet one for Manhattan and the dry one for a dry martini. That's it. That's it. I mean, get the fuck away from me with sweet vermouth. Fuck that drink.
It reminds me of Rome and summer. No, it reminds me of vomit that you don't want to.
Yeah. So he's like, I want a Jim Beam on whatever water, and she's like sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist. And he literally, it goes to the scene where, oh, I want do you want a drink? She says yes. Like a bartender, sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist. And she's like, same.
That's my favorite drink. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you know? It's like, oh, I love it. It's my favorite drink too. It's like, what shall we drink for? It's like, want to drink to Rome on the docks with a whatever. Oh, I always drink for world peace.
World peace.
Cut two. He invites it again. What do we drink now? Oh, to world peace. I always drink to world peace. And she's like piecing it down bit by bit. And you have to realize every time there's a little sliver of that scene, there's 24 hours of what's going on. Right? Let's go there. So he literally starts breaking down everything, and it's the
fact that she doesn't like fudge, she doesn't like white chocolate.
Exactly. So they sit around like they end up sitting around at it's not the same. Is it the same place? No, it's a different place, right? It's a restaurant.
Yeah.
Or is it the same? I don't remember.
No, this is different because this is actually it's a German restaurant.
Yeah. So they sit down and she's like, he asks her, what did she major in? How did she become a producer? Right.
Sure. Yeah.
It starts off with, how did you become a producer? And she's like, I kind of rolled into it because I studied like French literature or French poetry.
And it was like, well, imagine how far I would come because, you know, in college I studied French poetry, and he laughs.
Yeah.
And immediately to him, it's like, uh-oh, gotta restart this day.
Okay. So restart again. And he's quoting in French. It's like, oh, you know French? He's like, oui.
Well, the thing is, too, is how long it takes to learn a language. So,
or just that sentence. Just that sentence, right? So you would imagine how many days, how many times have he's gone through if he learned a perfectly French, like, and he recited a whole, like
It was
it
a full
was a,
poem.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a full poem. So it's like 5 lines, 6 lines, right?
Yeah.
That's, even if you're very talented or even if you know French, reciting that takes time. So maybe even like a week. You can't you can't, you only speculate. This movie is all about speculating how much time passed between this scene and the next scene, and it's like immediate,
Yeah.
right? And then we have this scene where it's after the restaurant. They go and they roll a snowman, and we've got kids that are like attacking them, and like, oh, milady. I like that part. It's like, milady, I will save you. And he
I
also
will
has,
protect your honor. Yeah.
yeah, he also puts that pipe, right?
Yeah.
He came prepared with the pipe already. So
Where'd you get that? Oh, I bought it from the snowman store.
yeah,
Ha
yeah,
ha ha ha
yeah.
ha. Funny.
And they literally end up looking at each other, right? Tentatively, tender as the night, right? But it's like, okay, let's just go to my place. And she says, I don't want to. It's like, nothing's gonna happen. He's telling her, it's like, nothing's gonna happen. Let's just sit around and talk. Come on, just come and talk with me, right? And this is supposed to be like day whatever, this is like
It had
the
to have been multiple
70 times that already happened.
Well, every single that the next scene just shows how much information that he had gathered,
Yeah, this scene,
which is
not
just
this
like
scene.
just
No, it's inside already.
inside. Yeah, when they're inside, and
Yeah.
it's a very baby it's cold outside kind of scene where now this scene could not be shown because it's very, very heavily implied that he is not going to let her leave.
Yeah,
The way he
it's
keeps moving on her and she's saying no, no, no.
yeah,
It
it's
wouldn't fly
very
today.
creepy at this point. And this is where he's like, he's sort of on the verge of getting her to bed, which is his ego thing, trying to get her to.
Yeah.
He's not really in love with her. He's just trying to get her in bed, right? It's just the sex part at this point. But he's so close to getting her to bed, he can like taste it. So he literally forgets the plan and just goes for it. And he is met by, oh, did my friends help you getting
like,
you to this
tell
big
you all this
setup,
information about
right?
me and all this stuff, and then he even was like, "Oh, well, if you want, I even have ice cream. I have it sitting on the windowsill. It's Rocky Road." They're like, my favorite.
Yeah.
How did you know that?
Yeah, and like she's.
Yeah.
I mean, wait. Jump it. So there's a. She just leaves, right? She didn't slap him this time.
No, she did slap him this time.
She did slap him this time.
The first
so
time.
She slaps him, but it's not the scene where he gets slapped repeatedly.
That's right after this. Yeah.
So it goes back. It goes back to. I'm going to show my screen. It goes back to the snowman actually, but he gets a little bit more crazy with this one. Oh, the kids! He goes a little bit more like.
Okay, he says, "Oh yeah, because I want to have kids." Oh God, hey, do any of you kids have parents? I'll adopt you.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you are so creepy, and yeah, and I get to this point. It's like
getting slapped over and over again,
and it's in different places of that scene where they sit around, they get to drink, then they go to the restaurant, then they go to the snowman, then they look at each other, then they go to his house. And at certain different points, he kind of slips up, I guess. And again, it's the story you tell yourself in your head because the movie has to go on. The movie has to move forward because we're literally more than halfway in and there's no resolve. This is where you get to. He tries so many times to get her to bed. This is like the last straw where she literally day after day or like attempt after attempt, I would say, literally slaps him at different points of the day.
Yeah.
So,
And then I think it's where his ego is really the most pernicious there, because it's showing the degradation of his. He is now getting impatient. He's not getting what he wants, so he's basically fucking up earlier every single time, and
yeah,
he's getting slapped every single time earlier and earlier and earlier throughout the night.
yeah. So at a certain point, he's like waking up, Sonny and Cher again. He's like, oh, I'm not doing this today. It's like, I'm not doing this. He goes downstairs, and there's a lovely scene. Rip Alex Trebek, by the way.
Yes.
It's like, Rip Alex Trebek is like, he answers every single question. And there's that trio. You see, it goes.
There's like,
there's a trio at the back. There's the lady of the house, and there's that trio of old people, right? And they are amazed. And that's like, they're amazed that he answers every question. And some of the answers are coming as Alex Trebek reads the question.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, is how many times, how many days did he sit here watching that episode of Jeopardy? Because he knew all of the answers even before the question was even being finished, being said.
Exactly.
Like, he had that memorized. So how many days had he spent there watching this with these people?
Exactly. And you don't know. It could be in one of those days where he was like planning ahead and all that stuff, but you don't know. That's the beauty of it. That's what I like about this movie. It's like, you don't know. You don't have the day count. So it could be 10 years worth of days. You don't know. Which is to
far
me
more than that, by the way, but we're going to get to it.
Yeah. Oh, this scene. I love this scene. It's not really a scene, but it's a collection of things that happen. He's like, literally, okay, it flips to 6, and he literally finds different ways of destroying the fucking clock.
Yeah.
It literally finds several different ways of destroying the clock, because he knows there's no repercussions, right? At this point, he can't even imagine the end. And like, he goes into this phase where he knows it's not going to end. There's no way it's going to end. So he just does whatever he wants.
Well, then he starts basically committing suicide over.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. No, we'll get to that. This is where he destroys the clock. I think we skipped. There's a scene. There's also a scene where he kind of he meets Ned, and Ned comes to him. He's like,
that was on his first day where he goes like, I don't care anymore. Where Ned runs up to him and he goes, he's like, Ned, punches him in the face.
Phil, Bablam. But at this point, Rita kind of senses it. They go back to the ceremony, and Phil's like, he's out of it, and he's not like acting. He's not being his usual self-centered, egotistical, sarcastic guy. So Rita knows something is off, right? And at this point, Phil steals
Punxsutawney Phil. Yeah.
He steals the Groundhog Phil. He puts him in a truck, and he just bolts. And the master of ceremonies, his brother, is like acting, the actor brother, is like, go get him. Let's go get him. He stole Phil.
Well, just for everyone from outside the States, like Mephi, you mentioned it before, but you know that there's the two circumstances where either he sees a shadow or he doesn't. So that's what Phil thinks will resolve it. It's like, oh, well, he saw his shadow. Maybe if he doesn't see his shadow, that'll stop this. Because now he wants this over with. He just wants to be free of this prison, which it is in its own right.
So he reaches the quarry, and this is what I wanted.
That actually, the actor that is his brother says, just fire at him. Just be sure not to hit the groundhog.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell, man? So it's like, all right, Phil, this is like, hold on, we're gonna go for it. And he goes Thelma and Louise on that quarry, basically.
In a way, the first thing I thought about when I first saw this movie when I was a kid was I thought about Caddyshack.
Yeah, exactly. That's
That's the
exactly
first thing
what
I
I
thought
thought
of
about.
was Caddyshack.
That's exactly what I. How is he with a fucking groundhog again?
Yeah.
How?
Technically, it was a gopher, but they're close
potato.
enough.
It's a rodent with big front teeth, whatever. And there's a scene where it literally drops down, and Larry kind of looks at it. It's like he can still make it, and kablam! I was like, yeah, no. And there's the most odd scene in the world, because it's the first scene where it doesn't go immediately to the next day, but it goes to Rita and Larry go to the morgue. Even though it was an explosion, Phil is perfectly intact but dead. Yeah. He's perfectly intact, no burn marks, no nothing, but he's dead. Right.
And I love Larry's reaction to it. It's like he had to search for a response. At first he goes, yeah, he was a good guy. We all loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? All right.
So and this is where he starts his.
Yeah, he's like,
cycle.
Okay, it's the cycle of death, basically. He goes up to the clock tower, then he drops down. He goes out in front of a moving truck, goes down. Doesn't matter what he does, he can't die. So he sits around in this diner, back again to the diner, right? And he goes to Rita, and he's like, I'm a god.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a god. Confession. Okay. And he says everything to Rita, and he's like, oh, you don't believe me? Okay. So he goes out to almost every single member of that diner, and he tells the story of that guy. It's like, this guy doesn't want to be here, but he's gay, and those couple are about to be married, even though she doesn't want to get married, and he does.
And oddly enough, Meth, that the groom, that's Michael Shannon.
Who is
Michael Shannon? Very famous actor, Michael Shannon. He's been in a lot of movies.
Okay.
But this is one of his first. This is one of his very, very first roles. Was this?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And this way further out. But yeah, they go. He's like, this is Nancy Taylor, and this is this, and this is that, and he catches.
She makes it sound like a chipmunk when she's really happy.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, it's not wrong.
And he also tells, and now they're gonna drop something in the kitchen, but it's okay because nothing's gonna happen. And she's amazed, but there's nothing like there, and they end up sitting around, right?
And he tells her all the facts about her.
Yeah.
That's what really kind of sets everything in her mind, where it's like, there's no way you could know this, so maybe it's believable.
Yeah, and he tells her she doesn't like white chocolate, and she likes this, and she loves poetry, and she got into a producing job and everything, and that's about it. There's yelling and shouting in my house, and I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah, my daughter doesn't want to go to bed because she's afraid of the Sandman. Yes, literally the Sandman. And they sit around at his hotel.
And how they were playing, actually, they're throwing cards into the hat there.
Yeah.
There's a little sideline where he actually says, she says, well, it'll take me forever to get good at that. And he literally says, no, actually, it only takes about 6 months.
He does? I didn't catch that.
Yep. It's just a little tiny sideline there, but he says that right there. So that's at least another 6 months that he's actually throwing cards into a hat.
Exactly. And imagine, when did he actually start it?
Yeah.
All right. So Jesus, it goes haywire over here. Never mind. It's a good thing the door is shut. So she literally falls asleep with him reading her like this French poetry book, right? So that means he learned how to read French.
Fluently. Enough to actually interpret poetry.
Exactly. So that means a lot of time. A lot of time. They fall asleep and he wakes up and it's the day gone by and Sonny and Cher back again. And
Sap brought up a good point too. There was not just 6 months throwing cards into a hat, but with her, that it could have been with her every single time. We don't know because we're only given the snippets.
Yeah.
Of what we are given as an interpretation of it. Something that really comes up later with that we'll get to, but it's like we don't know because we haven't seen every single instance of him learning how to do this or learning these set skills or anything. So that's why time is very off in this, and
on, like I said at the beginning, it's on purpose that you don't know what day it is. You can imagine. All right, so before we begin, because this is like the start of the last bit of the movie, we are gonna go to our favorite thing in the world. Maybe not, but we are going to rank
Saf's Poor Tasted Movies. Let's go.
Saf's Poor Tasted Movies. All right, we're gonna switch over. We're gonna be just down below here. There we go. So every single week we are challenged with testing out which movie is better. We are presented by two movies randomly. I'm going to randomize this again. Don't worry about it. And we pick which one is the best one. Again, the audience does have their say, but of course we don't listen to them. All right, we are going to randomize this and pick a random movie. Pleasantville or Gremlins? Have you seen Pleasantville?
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire does a great job on this. Gremlins, though. 8 Mile or The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Bad Boys 2, Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane.
Bad Boys 2, Citizen Kane is a terrible movie.
Oh, it is not. It's a great movie.
It is terrible. I know what is the synopsis. I've seen this movie twice or thrice. It is terrible. Now, Bad Boys 2 is not a good movie either.
Okay, well, in that instance,
it has better action. It has way better action in it.
Split decision. We go to the audience vote. Unfortunately,
audience vote says Bad Boys 2. Fight Club or Fight Club for sure. Mean Girls is just a rotten movie. Ghostbusters 2, because Wild Wild West had a big gigantic spider in it.
Awful. Oh man, these are
Silent
both awful
Hill
movies.
Or Phone Booth. Phone Booth is a terrible movie, and Silent Hill is a bad adaptation. It's just a bad adaptation. For me, I would go with Silent Hill.
I would too, just because it's more visually interesting.
Yeah.
Phone Booth is boring.
It's very boring. Scream or The Butterfly Effect. I would go with Scream.
I would have to go with Scream. It's way too influential.
Yeah. Psycho or this one is.
Ooh,
you have to think about it. This one you have to think about it. Psycho is arguably the better of Alfred Hitchcock's movies, but some people like his earlier work, his later work. Like some people prefer The Birds over this one because it's more creepy.
Actually, I thought
this one is super iconic. Or Vertigo.
Vertigo is way better than Psycho. That's just fact.
But which one is more iconic than this one? Just because of the shower scene.
Well, that and it's the modern it actually was the thing
No,
that
not the
created the
modern one.
modern day like no.
It,
It created the modern day slasher though. It was
yes.
the forerunner. It was the thing that created slashers in themselves.
Yeah.
And I love the Dark Knight. I think it's one of the, if not the best comic book adaptations of all time.
I mean,
But
I do prefer Batman 1989, but I hands down I would think I would pick the Dark Knight of the two, but that's a different story altogether.
yeah,
Comparing these two,
I have to say for impact, I have to go with Psycho. I have to.
I want to
It's
go with Dark Knight, but I think I'm going to go with Psycho 2 because it's so iconic.
yeah.
So iconic. All Good Things and Austin Powers, Man of Mystery. I would go with Austin Powers because All Good Things is not boring, but it bums you out.
I have never seen All Good Things, so
Oh, okay.
Austin
I,
Powers technically kind of
I
wins
would
by
go.
default.
No. If you haven't seen it, I'll go with I haven't seen it. Now pick. Now it's tougher for me because when I saw Crouching Tiger the first time, I did not like it that much.
Yeah.
After watching a third and fourth time, it's a really good movie.
I have to go with Crouching Tiger just because it was the early renaissance of, well, not early, later renaissance of the Hong Kong film industry. That brought up a lot of really good movies.
I would go with that as well, even though I love Austin Powers. Dawn of the Dead or Three Ninja. Well, I haven't seen it. Never mind. Dawn of the Dead or Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Dawn
That's
of the
tough. That's
I would
tough for
say
me.
Dawn of the Dead because I really like the reboot a lot. I really think they did a fantastic job taking over after Romero to kind of ditched zombies for a little while. For he made what, Land of the Dead after that, and then he died. So
I would go with Dawn of the Dead because I dislike all the Harry Potter movies. I love the books.
So do
I
I too.
hate the movies. Pretty Woman or original Jumanji?
Ooh.
Hot take, I would go with Pretty Woman. I do not like Jumanji. I mean, I love Robin Williams. He does a good job in it, but the movie is
it's not that great. The new Jumanjis are actually really
I haven't
funny.
seen them.
They're actually really fun. They're pleasantly entertaining. But I would yeah, Pretty Woman, you're right.
Big mistake. Never mind. Last one. Old School or Van Helsing?
Van Helsing's a shit movie. Old School was at least funny. I get
Old School was so funny. It was the premise. Funny. Just the premise was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that was also, oddly enough, Meth, that was my freshman year in college when that movie came out. And a lot of my friends were actually being like hazed into frats at the time. So it was just really like, oh, this is relevant to my interests.
The fact that there's an old actor there and they go into like this sludge fight with two naked girls.
Oh,
and the guy
Blue with the KY wrestling, and he has just a heart attack and just
hearts and dies. And when the actor died, I think Luke Wilson kind of said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we killed him," and he linked that bit of the movie, and everybody liked it because it was just making lighthearted of a guy who did a lot of movies, but he was always in the background. It's like a very famous what should we call it? Guys who are in the background,
like a bit character.
No.
Extra,
like an extra, but a very famous extra. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, Phil wakes up after the sort of a big reveal with Rita, and there's sort of there's a noticeable change, right? There's a noticeable change. He's like, this time he's trying something. He's not being his normal self, right? He goes up, he brings them like coffee, donuts, like he's being genuinely nice, which is genuinely the opposite of what he was, right? And he's like, okay, I've got this and this, and he does the broadcast, and then he tells them, look, I have to go. I have to go. I have things to do.
This is the first time you see him actually being nice and considerate to Larry ever.
Yes, especially to Larry, especially because up to this point he's like, he dismisses him as a non-fact, right? So he goes up to this diner. Wait, and you can tell he's like trying to improve himself, right? And is it in this diner where he saves the guy from choking? Right?
No, that's actually at the I think it's actually the same German restaurant, but just in a different scene.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because it's later on in the evening. But you could tell too that this is kind of him being almost resigned to his fate, where he's accepting the fact that now he can't get out of this and he doesn't know a way to get out of it, so he might as well, try to improve himself, as you said. And also from his conversations, especially with Rita, and how many times, again, Sap brought it up, like how many times he actually had that conversation with Rita where they did end things on a good note. Maybe he does actually want to be a better person, and this is actually his turning point.
Yeah, but it seems like he doesn't do it from an egotistical point. But
no, he's not doing. He's doing it to just generally better himself.
Yeah, to better himself. Yeah. So, but the thing is, and this is what confused me, is like, is he doing this because he wants to better himself, or because he knows that Rita, one of the first times he sits down, remember when he's like, oh, it's me. She says that she wants a guy who knows how to play an instrument. She doesn't say musician. She said knows how to play an instrument. So he goes out to this house and is like, I want a piano lesson. And she's like, I've got someone. It's like, I'll pay you
$1,000.
So
they walk in like 1 second.
And she
just shoves the little girl
outside. Like, oh, and you get reminded, after all, this is a comedy, right? So you have to put these bits in. And he literally tries a little bit, and as the days go by, she's like, is this your first lesson? It's my first lesson. Yeah.
No, she goes, no. He says, my dad was a piano mover.
Yeah. That's right. So he goes like, oh yeah, my dad was a piano mover. Right. Then we go to this part where he is, if you thought in the piano scene where he's like trying to be a guy who knows how to play an instrument, and he does it at an egotistical level, this is where kind of the last vestige of his ego, where he generally tries to help out this old guy not die. And he genuinely cares for the guy.
And it was the bum that he gave the money to before. And that's why he was so elated, that the bum here was so elated to see him, because like, oh yeah, you gave me all the money. Yeah.
And he kind of loses him, and he literally barges in. It was like, oh, show me his charts. And the nurse says, look, sometimes people just die.
And what did he say? Not today.
Yeah, not today.
Which is imperative, because his day goes on forever.
Exactly. But I don't think he managed to save him.
Because he tries to save him multiple times.
Yeah, he tries to save him multiple times, but he does not. He does not. This is the last scene where he tries to save him, and he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. Right? and we get a bit more scene. This is where I think it's at this point.
This is where he gives the big speech. Yeah.
He gives the big speech. He finishes. Rita's like very impressed. He gives her the mic and is like, I have errands to run. Right. And he runs off and he saves this boy. And there's a great part in this. He's like, saves this boy. He puts him down and he says, every single day, you don't say thank you to me.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, you don't say
how many times did he save the kid? That's another question you have to ask.
Exactly. It's like, oh, he not only he timed this, but he saves them multiple days.
Yep. Well, notice the fact too that was never shown before. So when did that happen?
Exactly. And then in the evening where he saves his brother. Wait. Yeah, it's the same. It's the hotel. It's not the hotel. It's not the restaurant.
Okay, it was the hotel then.
So he goes out.
It was the Stein up there that got me. Up on the wall with the plates. But that's what got me.
that restaurant had this little big banner, so it doesn't appear here, but whatever. So he saves his brother, and Larry, of course, tries to hit on Nancy, and he strikes out. Oh. But they're all going to. She tells Rita they're all going to a party, right?
Yep.
And they go to the party.
And he has to like, oh, so where's Will? Is Phil going there? And Nancy goes, oh, Phil, and I can't remember his last name, but he's already there, and he's up there playing like the true pianist.
Yeah, a true pianist.
He's an aficionado at his craft up there.
Exactly. And so he's playing the thing, and Rita's like completely amazed, and it seems like it's a day where he doesn't even pay her any attention. They don't even have any interaction except for basically the ceremony and right after this scene where they do like a bachelor auction, right?
Yep.
And he says to Phil, wait, is it? No. They have this interaction.
There he is. That's Michael Shannon right there, right in the center. That's the young groom.
I wouldn't recognize him. There's no way I would recognize him.
Right? And he goes, what did he get him for the wedding gift, Meth?
Oh, I forgot. Oh, a trip to someplace. Disney World?
It was tickets to WrestleMania.
Tickets to WrestleMania. Tickets to WrestleMania. That's
and
it.
They were both elated.
Yeah, it gives them tickets to WrestleMania after he basically saved their marriage. Mm-hmm. Basically. So she sees him. He's not trying to impress her, but she sees how he acts with other people, not with her. So she kind of gets to see his humble self, I would say. So we get an auction, and we got Nancy and the waitress, right?
Yes, Nancy and the waitress. Yeah.
So Nancy, so they go back and forth, and they go up to around $60 or $65, and Rita says $339.88, and she literally puts up her purse, right?
Yep.
So the audience can tell, she went through her purse, and that's all she has is $339.88. That's like, I've seen it in other movies, but it's like later on. I don't know if they got inspiration out of this, or maybe it's not the first time, but there it is. And she basically buys him because it signifies that she actually wants that person. Yeah. His name is Phil. He's the weatherman, but he's not the same person that he was. Remember, the van scene was a day before the ceremony that they just went there, right?
Well, and then also too, they had really known each other for a long period of time anyway. So the brash asshole that she met in the van was her first real interaction with him. her seeing this version of him is basically seeing a completely different side of someone, but it wouldn't be like you and I having a conversation where you had completely changed overnight. This is something where I just met you and tomorrow you're someone different. And maybe my first insight on you was wrong, and that's what it really would come off to Rita as, like, oh, well, maybe I just took him the wrong way, and he really is this nice guy.
Yeah, we kind of skipped the scene where Larry and Rita kind of go into the street, and he's like doing ice sculpting, right? And
he did that with a chainsaw.
He's like nonchalant, doing like, oh, hi Rita, hi Larry.
Again, that's like, another talent that he picked up over how many months, how many years?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they meet up with Ned Ryerson, and he introduces Ned as his insurance guy.
Yeah, and he goes, oh, and he's my best client. He bought what? Life, death, auto dismemberment.
Like everything. He bought every single thing, and like made his day because he could sell his insurance. So they go outside, and
he does this beautiful snow sculpture, which again, how much time did that take?
Exactly. How long did it? And she is immediately smitten, right?
Oh, completely enamored with him at this point.
At this point, you have to suspend your disbelief that she can fall in love with him within the very small amount of interaction that they had in this specific day, right? In this specific day. So all it did was like how he treated people, and the big speech he had at the ceremony, and this part. That's
and he can play the piano.
He can play the piano. Exactly. Exactly. Everything that you wanted at when she told him exactly what she wanted, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything about a marriage. He didn't say anything about a family or kids or anything like that. It was just this. And no, he did not. Not at this point.
He wasn't actively trying to pursue her either, which is the big difference.
That is the major difference between the several tries that he tried really hard and got slapped, and this try, which it wasn't even a try. It was things just rolling along.
Yeah, he was treating it ambivalently. It was just like another day in his countless days.
Yeah. So they kiss, but you don't see them in his house. You don't see them in his room or whatever.
Yeah, in the room in the end,
Yeah. So we get click, switch to day, or we see this, and we hear the song again. So the first couple of seconds, it was like, oh, another day. But as soon as the radio guys start talking, one of the guys say to the other guy, oh, this song again?
Yeah, and then it was actually it was Rita's arm that goes over him and turns off the radio.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, it's too early. Yeah. And he's like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
This is something else.
He pinches her.
Yeah, he pinches her, not he pinches her and not himself. And that kind of harkens back to the egotistical Phil rather than the new Phil, I would say, right? And it's like he pinches her and it's like, I don't know how they got to it, but she tells him, is that a big change? It's like, it's change. And he tells her any change is good.
Good. Yeah.
Any change is good. And that's basically the last line of the movie. It's like, any change is good. And they like literally go outside. They go outside just so the audience can see that there's no people walking to the ceremony. As everything is snowed out because there was a blizzard at night. And that's it. It's a different day.
They kiss at the end, and he says, why don't we move here? And he goes, we can rent to start. And that's the last bit. And they go over the fence and they're walking through the snow.
That's right. So it's
a very happy ending for Phil.
Yeah. And that's it. We don't have to see what happens next. We don't have to see them in their own house. We don't have to see an end credit scene. We don't need to. We can imagine whatever comes next, and we can go wild. And that's how it is. It's just in and out, an hour and a half, and you needed to know what you needed to know. The rest you can fill up in your mind. Mm-hmm. And I like that.
Yep.
And that kind of ends the movie.
Yeah. That's the end.
All right. Now,
so
you said you wanted to talk about philosophy and
interesting things. First, I wanted to bring up is how long do you think he was actually stuck in that time loop?
When I watched this the first and second times, I would say about a year. I think it's more than that. Way more than that, but I would say any person would be, I think at a certain point would every person would reach a point where they would actually try to take their own life. I think every person would get to a point where he is so frustrated and so annoyed by the fact that you cannot get out of this loop, you would do absolutely anything, including taking your own life, in order to just end it.
Well,
even though you try again and again and again and not being successful.
Yes. So from the original script, he was stuck in that time loop anywhere between 75 to 80 years in the original script.
That is insane.
Now, when it's funny because it's still up for debate. What actually is Saf actually is right to take it to the minuscule amount of time to become an expert pianist, which he did, would take roughly about 10,000 days is what they typically would guesstimate on how long it takes to learn a craft.
10,000 days is a lot. That's 20 years. No,
30 almost.
That's 30 years.
Almost 30 years. So in between that and all of his other shenanigans, learning all of his other crafts, Harold Ramis, the actual director and rewriter of the script, put it anywhere between 30 and 40 years. He was stuck in a time loop.
That's insane. I literally never put a number to it. Ever.
Yeah.
That's 30 to 40 years the same day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
And then moving on to now for philosophical implications. Now, there are a lot of interpretations you could put this as. So, especially in like the Catholic faith, you could think that he is actually stuck in a state of purgatory, where he is not being able to move forward until he's done enough to redeem himself. Oddly enough, Harold Ramis, again, the director of the film, likes to tie it back to his Buddhist beliefs, where he is actually a Bodhisattva, which is a person who is actually stuck in their state of almost reaching nirvana, but they can't quite reach it yet until they do enough good deeds. So they can't move forward until they've done enough, which is very similar actually to a lot of the Jewish concepts of mitzvahs.
Yes and no, because the whole point is the mitzvah is something that you have to do in order to gain favor. And so it's weird, but it's sort of at the end of the day, sort of a point system ish.
Yeah.
Where we can't get into it, but the whole point is that there's a certain day, the year, where the book opens, and you have one side with the mitzvahs, which is like the bright points, and the other side you have the black points, because we know that you're going to do something bad because you are human and not a god. And the whole point is you open up the book and you pray, so they will count your good points and try and erase your bad points.
Yes.
Not only the prayers, it's to erase the bad points and for God to look at the bright side.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. That's Yom Kippur, by the way.
Yep.
Basically.
I know.
But
I just
I
wanted
don't
to
think it
tie
has
in.
any relevance to this.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. I just say that was an interpretation that I had read that was like, oh, it could be kind of seen like that. Like, I could sort of see that, not all the way, but I could sort of see it.
Because in the Jewish faith, there is no heaven and hell.
Yes. Yeah.
There is no heaven and hell. There is the sort of the resurrection when the Messiah will come. There is no name. There is the Messiah. And when he comes, people will rise from the graves. It's not like they're going to heaven. They will rise from the graves and it will be heaven on earth.
Yep.
All right. And to get to that place, you need to be at good odds with God. So there is no purgatory. There is no hell. There's just nothingness. But yeah, go
no,
on.
just tying that into just different things.
Yeah,
really,
but
I
it's
think that
more I think it was more like purgatory or something. Yeah, in the Hindu faith.
Definitely in the Buddhist with the Bodhisattva it's more akin to that, and it's also akin to I don't know why they had mentioned this as sort of a topic of debate, but they thought it was very similar to. This is going to go off on a different turn, but have you ever read Nietzsche?
No, but I kind of know some of the things. Go on.
Do you know the concept of the eternal return?
No.
Okay. So the eternal return dictates that if time and space are infinite, then logically our existence and everything we know is recurring over and over again infinitely on a loop.
Okay.
Nonstop.
Okay. I can see where he gets.
So they were bringing that up as an ideology, and I thought about that. It's like that sort of applies, but not really, because he breaks the cycle is broken. Had the cycle not been broken, then
I think it's sort of a redemption arc.
Yeah.
It's sort of a redemption arc where the protagonist doesn't know he needs to be redeemed. He kind of rolls into it. He rolls into his redemption, right? It's not a multiverse like Saf says. It's more of a oddly enough, very similar to Scrooge, where he goes into the arc of being selfish into being loving and caring, but in a very different way.
Right.
Where
so do you think it's
there's no guiding angel to point out, oh, you are being mean to this dude, you're being mean to Larry, and when you learn to pay attention to the little guys in your life, that's where you can be redeemed, right? And it's not about getting the girl. The girl is a prize, but it's because you went through this redemption arc and you fixed the other little things in your life, and that's when you get the girl. You get I would call it the prize.
So you think in a way it's
without knowing it's the prize of being like good behavior, I would say.
So one thing I was going to get to is what Saf brought up as multiverse theory, but before we do that, so do you think it's kind of like its own temporal bubble where it was like the forced introspection, and if it wasn't completed, then you couldn't break it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's sort of again, going back to the Christian way of thinking it, it's sort of a involuntarily in purgatory, but you don't know you're in purgatory. Because in Dante's Inferno, the guy actually knows he's in purgatory and there's a way out.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a way out.
Yeah.
The knowledge of I know there's a way out kind of pushes you to do the right thing. In this kind of story, the protagonist doesn't know why he's in that loop, what he needs to do. There's no guiding angel, there's no guiding light, there's no one to tell him that he's acting like a jerk. Nobody tells him he's acting like an asshole. They tell him he's an asshole. They don't tell him he's acting like an asshole. Nobody tells him he's an egotistical maniac. You can see it on their faces, but he's such an egomaniac at the start. He doesn't actually recognize the reactions that people have to his actual behavior, or he's too much of a snob to actually realize that that's the reaction. He doesn't realize that the lady in the inn is so baffled, but what he's talking about, it just literally goes over his head. Right. And as time passes, this whole thing kind of melts away. And from the knowledge, from the years that have passed, whatever it's 30, 40 years, or even if it's 1 year, doesn't matter. It going the same day over and over again kind of literally breaks down his ego. But his ego is so big, you needed 35 years to break it down.
Yep.
Of every day.
That I'm going to get to, Seth, I'm going to get to your multiverse theory in just 1 second. But one thing I wanted to do is just mention a little caveat here. What I would like to refer to is the trials of Sisyphus.
Oh, okay.
Because what he's doing every single day does not change. What does Sisyphus do every day, Meth?
He pushes a boulder
Rock
up the mountain,
up a hill,
and he reaches the top, and it goes down,
right back down. And Sisyphus's ego in life was so large that was the task he was given.
Yes.
And he cannot break that cycle. Why? Because his ego is still that large. He does not accept the fact that he is powerless against this. You see,
the thing is, Phil doesn't realize that he has that task. That is the major difference. Yes. Yes, that's very much like it's Phil, but at the beginning.
Yeah.
On the 5th or 6th day.
Most definitely.
Multiverse? I wouldn't go as far as multiverse.
I was thinking of just the concept of divergent timelines, because to think of if those were to happen every single day and they were to repeat themselves, and if they were to not be their own, like I mentioned, the concept of a temporal bubble where nothing would exist outside of that. If it were to happen, so every day would be so that the time that he did tell Nancy that, what if that were to actually go off, but we're not seeing that version of it? We're just having him flash back, but he's having the memories of it happening.
That's why I'm not talking about multiverse. It's not like like Doctor Strange looking at the different ways of what's going to happen, and we have from 14 million or whatever.
Oh no, we're not talking about odds. We're talking about just time frames of things just splitting off, and how things could have gone different every single time, and if they would have actually expand outward. Yeah,
but the thing is, there's every day that passes, there is some sort of a personal growth. Some sort of a personal with Phil, not with everything else, because everything else is on a constant loop. He's the only one who is in the loop, but he's
the constant. Yeah,
he's not a constant. He's growing. His mind is growing. His ego is breaking down. Everything changes for him, but not for everybody else, because everybody else is in that loop around him.
Yeah. And I was also thinking of how, depending on how long this loop would have taken, imagine how much he would have had to record mentally to get this down to that exact science, to get that last really good day down to a T.
But the thing is, that last day, he didn't plan on it. It was just his personal growth getting to that place, having that day, and not overthinking it.
Oh, but I mean, all of the other things that he did during that day, like he knew exactly when to save that kid from falling out of the tree. He knew when to save the man that was in the restaurant. He still remembered how to.
I didn't show it, but the old ladies and the tire.
The old lady in
Like,
the tire.
oh, don't worry, I've got it sorted out. You
Like,
just sit back, relax.
all of those tiny
yeah.
little minute details, if you could perfect that down to there,
Yeah.
wouldn't at some point in time, to me, it seems like it would take as long at least that 30 to 40 years. But also, wouldn't the concept of time dilation start to eke into his mind a little bit? Do you know the concept of time dilation?
Not in this one, but yeah.
So, just overall, the concept of time dilation, is that not affecting his mind in the same way because time is resetting itself? It's just an interesting concept to bring up. Because if he's still remembering and he's gaining things, he's gaining knowledge throughout this experience, you'd think that he would be mentally progressing at some point in time too. So his mind would have to be aging some point in order to retain that information. Otherwise, his synapses would reset and he wouldn't retain any of that knowledge.
Yeah, but that's going that's going.
I told you I was gonna get into it.
Way beyond like where the nerdy section is. You know, the geek nerdy section.
I was gonna pose those kind of questions where it's just like
it's those questions where who beats who, Batman or Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So those are the kind of crazy things that I think about when I can't sleep. So
imagine what I think about when I go to sleep. But yeah, it's after all, when you first view it, it's a funny movie. When you view it for like the 5th or 6th time, those are the thoughts that are creeping into your mind. It's like, oh shit. I was like, how many days? Or, oh yeah, is it time dilating? Is it multiverse? Is it this or is it that? And you come up with crazy things, and they're all valid.
Yeah.
They're all valid because you can weave your little explanation and it will fit, because again, you see slivers of days. Yep. You see actions in days. Yep. How much time did it take him to get to the boy and save him? Not a lot, a few minutes. What happened to the rest of the day? Right?
Yep.
It's not necessarily the same day. Because he saved him multiple times. Right? He saved him multiple times.
And how many times did he fail?
Yeah, how many times did it fail? And what happened to the kid when it did fall?
Yep.
You don't know about these things. You have
same with his brother in the restaurant.
Yeah, same with the brother in the restaurant. Well, not his brother, but yeah.
You know what I meant.
Yeah. All right. Okay, it is that time of night where we have to say goodbye. But before we do, hope this works. You're going to have to be, I'll mute you on my side so it won't echo.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll see this. This is the short version, just to wrap us up, the short version of the day. Okay, I'm going to, hopefully you can hear this. If you can't hear this, do this. Okay? And short version of Groundhog Day. Now it is muted on my side. No. It is muted on my side. Relax. There we go. And play.
Okay, here we go. The short version.
Tomorrow is Groundhog's Day. I think she'll be a great producer. I got you, babe. Am I right or am I right? Am I right? Watch out for the first step. It's a doozy. 6 more weeks of winter. I say a chance of departure is 80%. It's Groundhog's Day. Again. No spots, no clots, and no tumors. I think we should meet again. Phil? Ned? What? Nancy Taylor? Oh, Rita. Who's Rita? Sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist, please. This whole day was just one big setup. I got you, babe. It's showtime, Phil. He might be okay. I am a god. Tomorrow you forget all about this. I'd like a piano lesson and I'll give you $1,000. Hi Rita, hi Larry. Thank you, young man. Sometimes people die. What do you bid for this fine young man? I bid $339.88. It's amazing. I got you, babe. It's too early. Anything different is good. All right. All right. This was a short. This was actually super short on purpose. On purpose. Yeah. I wanted to make it as short as the movie, to be honest. But yeah. Anything to add before we leave? Yes. One more thing. The movie for next week, it is the 26th of June, would be the 2012 Dread with Urban Keith.
Carl Urban.
Carl, not Keith. Keith Urban is
Keith's the country singer.
Yeah, Keith Urban is the guy. Yeah, is that guy. Carl Urban with Dread.
And Lena.
And Lena Headey. Yeah. I don't like her in this movie, but she is disgusting. She's terrible. Definitely not Cersei. All right. Yeah. So next week, prepare yourselves. Go watch it. Dread 2012. If you really want to watch the older Dread, I prefer that one. So go ahead and watch that with Stallone. But for
I am the law.
For next week's podcast, it would be Dread with Keith Urban, Carl Urban. Right. Have a nice week, my friend. We'll probably see you tomorrow if you're insomniac enough. For
I'm hoping you sleep. We shall see.
Oh, if you sleep, I'll be happy. But if you'll be there, I'll be happy too. Trust me, if you fall asleep, that'll make you very, very happy. All right, my friend.
All right, buddy.
Until next week, I bid you farewell, goodbye, and have a great rest of the weekend. And you too, guys. You guys too.
Take care.